Welcome back to Nzone Focus. Kathy, what was one of the most challenging things for you being in that earthquake zone and trying to file stories for us?
I think, well, just on a very small scale, the logistics of food and water and having access to toilets, which is what the vast majority of Christchurch was experiencing, of course. But I think in terms of struggling with the slight vulture feel of interviewing people, especially not so much the officials, but a little bit them, because they're exhausted working around the clock, and interrupting them in their busyness to, can we just have a few minutes with you for an update, and then going into the suburbs and talking to people whose homes are gone and whose lives have just been completely turned upside down, and talking to them and knowing in a few minutes after we've finished talking we'll be moving on. And while the role of the media is tremendously important and vital in communicating what has happened, just on a personal level I've wrestled with that sort of helicoptering in and out, so to speak.
Absolutely. And Alan, what about the teams of people who were trying to help? What were some of the challenges they faced?
Oh, just incredible. I mean, one of the hardest things is getting around because some of the bridges are out, a lot of the roads are blocked, some of the roads have holes in the size of wheelie bins, others have got great sort of lumps in. And so just getting from A to B, a journey that would normally take you 10 minutes, could take you an hour, hour and a half. And so just if you have to go somewhere and help someone, then you can't just say, oh, I'll nip up the road and help them. It's, I'll set off on a major trek and help someone. And those sort of, just the logistics. And of course, as Kathy said, things like, difficult to get food, although that's eased now. But in the first couple of days, difficult to get food, no water, no sanitation. All those things just make simple things really, really hard.
Yeah, difficult job for all involved. As rescuers worked into the night to find people missing beneath the rubble, thousands of others were left without the basics of life: food, water, power and sewage facilities, and not to mention welfare support and a good hug. Scott Kelso prepared this report.
We watched team after team of rescue workers from around the globe come and go from the Civil Defence headquarters. Their job was clear: find the missing. The world's media focused on the discovery of these people, alive or dead.
Unfortunately, the body count continues to grow.
And outside the cordons, which were patrolled by military and police staff, were thousands of Christchurch residents without life's necessities. Civil Defence and police struggled to provide for those now stranded in their own homes. Residents in the suburb of Burwood taking the inconvenience in their stride.
We're not nearly as bad off as people further down the street whose houses are really crunched. Ours was just a little bit munched around the edges, and it's just a mess, and it's not being able to just clean it up. Thank you.
With resources stretched, the call went out from the Mayor.
We're asking people to organise themselves at a grassroots level in their own communities. This is a time to rediscover community strength. It's a time to remember that we can do more together. Find the lonely, vulnerable people in your community. Find the elderly. Find the people with disabilities. Look after them. It will take us a while to get all of our normal services back. In some cases, many months.
Already responding, as always, was the church. Christians from around Christchurch and New Zealand had begun to provide support, from food and shelter to a simple yet vital hug. Salvation Army, always first in to assist, brought in volunteers from around the North and South Island.
We've been sent down here at this stage to help coordinate things along with the local and work alongside the local divisional headquarters here and the staff, because they've been through it. They've lost things in their homes, they've lost parts of their homes, and some of their buildings have been damaged. And so we're here to help them with that, and we've set in place a plan so that our people aren't working great long hours, and we're relieving them, and we're bringing people in from around the country. And if necessary, we have the 2 territories in Australia who are willing to send people to us.
Welfare centres were set up at local churches not affected by the quake. This church in Rangiora had given over all its resources to the Civil Defence and called in its people to help.
When they come here, we're trying to give them a hotel experience and really bless them. where they can get really nice food, they can get good warm beds, which we've turned the church into a complete dormitory for over 200, and the AMI gym again for 200, and we've got to have accommodation for up to 500 in this site. It's got a complete little field hospital, it's got a children's creche, a children's play area, and it's been really brilliant, and people love it, and a lot of them don't want to leave.
The major concern was reaching areas cut off by the quake. It took us around an hour 30 to reach people worst hit by liquefaction, damaged roads and bridges, which were beyond use. Should have taken us 10 minutes.
Mud everywhere. Every time our navman tells us to turn left, we can't do it because the road is blocked off. And poor old navman is always trying to get us to go in the opposite direction. Everywhere you go, there's a policeman at the end of the road or traffic cones stopping you going any further.
A group fronted by a local Christian leader came up with the answer.
The whole idea was we heard people were queuing for hours in lines to wait water tankers. Elderly people can't do that, so we just got to get water ready to go. It was sort of like a swap a bottle system, and honestly, it just went, and people were so grateful. And then what happened is throughout the day, someone volunteered a chopper. So we had a helicopter flying stuff in, the local restaurants got on board, McDonald's, KFC, Rangura Fish Supply, Kongming. We must have shipped in a couple of hundred meals, hot meals last night in there. Today we've got extra helicopters coming in.
The Rangiora Express was born. With food, water and time donated, as well as the all-important transport, the 2-hour journey turned into 15 minutes by air. At the other end, volunteers ready and waiting to deliver much-needed food and water, donated by supermarkets and shops and baked with love from families giving back.
The girls have been baking and I've made a mince dish and a rice to go to town.
The one thing we learned when our area was really badly damaged at Brooklands and the first earthquake was that the civil defence simply can't do everything. I think a lot of people expected the civil defence to come in and to save them. But the reality is the civil defence can only do so much. They're doing an awesome job, but they've only got so much manpower. It's a huge job. They've got to keep a big oversight, and that's where people like us can really step up and fill the need. And it's not you just can't wait around to be told.
In the midst of tragedy where it seemed, at least in the early stages, that all hope was lost, a simple message was given new life. Love your neighbour as yourself.
What makes it all worthwhile is seeing the look on people's faces when they're getting stuff and they're getting that support and they know the outside world is actually there and cares about them, you know.
We'll take a break, and when we come back, we talk to Craig Robertson, one of the first response rescuers, about his amazing story of courage. That's next.